Hey guys, how's it going? So a lot of you ask me all the time, what is the camera that I use for my POV vlogs? And that is what I am filming on right now. This is the DJI Action 4, and I figured why not give you guys a full review of what this camera can do in many different lighting conditions for many different scenarios. So we're gonna start right here in the studio with I guess you can call this a control setting. Right now I have the field of view in standard mode, which straightens everything out behind me and it looks like I'm on any other ordinary camera. But if I flip it to wide, which I will for the rest of the footage, you will see that it has the typical action camera fisheye view. But I figured this would be a great test to see what this camera is like in a quote-unquote studio environment. Now, the only lighting that you see in this footage is my ceiling light above me and another light right there that is attached to my ceiling. I don't have thousands of dollars worth of lighting behind the camera shining on me to make this look amazing. And I don't have a hidden lavalier on me. I have no hidden microphones on me. I don't have any microphone above or below me. What you hear is directly from the microphone on the Action 4. Now, me personally, I use this camera for my POV vlogs at the music venue. I did start out with this, which is the Action 3, but I've since upgraded to the Action 4, and the low light capabilities of this camera are significantly better than the ones on this. But not everyone is strapping this camera to their heads to mix bands at a music venue. A lot of people actually buy this camera for vacation vlogs with their families. So let's start with a control test. And I think this room and this scene can be a very nice control test because it is relatively quiet in here. I don't know if you can hear that behind me. That's an air purifier going, and I have the wind noise reduction setting on this camera. So you should be only hearing my voice and not the whirling sound of that fan behind me. So this is a good test to see the wind noise reduction feature on this camera. The best way to test the quality of the microphone on this camera is to have a control line of dialogue. So let's start with the control line. The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie ever made, and I will never forgive Disney or Rian Johnson for ruining Luke Skywalker. All right, now that we got the control, let's test this camera out outside and in various scenarios. So what we're gonna do right now is we are gonna go to Panera Bread because first off, it's lunchtime and I'm hungry, and we also want to edit some photos from yesterday's trip. Here is my charging station, my makeshift charging station with all of the batteries of my cameras, my drone, my other key light that I use. By the way, guys, the key light, if you even want to call it that I use for all of my talking head videos in my studio, LumeCube panel. You can either get this or an equivalent model for about $100, and it gets stupid bright. This is perfect for a first-time light to use in a studio. This is great if you need just a little bit of light in dark environments, and I use this to attach to the shoe on my camera for all of my wedding videos. It's a good light, battery lasts forever, and it actually does a very good job lighting up subjects in a very dark environment. Make sure to get extra battery, make sure I got the extra battery case, and let's go get lunch and do some work. I never really thought I would actually be vlogging, but here I am. All right, so before I even leave, this will be a good test for the dynamic range of this camera. So right now I am on my daylight setting, which is 5600 Kelvin with the wide field of view, and I believe the exposure is auto with a minus 0.3 EV with the ISO range of 100 to 3200. So as you can see behind me, all of my lights are off. Everything is off in the house. So let's transition from this to outside. And to do that, let's transition up to an outside view. And you can see how the dynamic range is working on the camera. So you can see the colors, you can see the grass in the background, you can see through the leaves, you see the sky, and let's point it directly towards the sun. So you can see the dynamic range on that. All right, so now that we concluded the inside to outside test, I think now is a good time to test the control dialogue for the microphone quality for this camera in a outside environment. So you can see, you can hear the cars on the road, you can hear the construction vehicles in the background, and this is just a typical suburban street. So here's the dialogue. The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie ever made, and I will never forgive Disney or Rian Johnson for ruining Luke Skywalker. Right. Let's go to Panera. Before we set off, I am parked underneath some trees, so the car is pretty well shaded, and you can see the bright sky behind me. So here's a dynamic range test inside the car, underneath some trees, with bright sunny sky in the background. Here's a dynamic range test, and here is an audio test. The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie ever made, and I will never forgive Disney or Rian Johnson for ruining Luke Skywalker. All right. Let's go to Panera. So we are driving along now at 25 miles an hour. I would concentrate on you guys on the camera, but I'm driving. So this is what the Action Force sounds like in a closed roof car at 25 miles an hour. And here is another audio test. The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie ever made, and I will never forgive Disney or Rian Johnson for ruining Luke Skywalker. Alright, same deal as before, guys. We are now driving at 50 miles an hour. And as you can see, the windows are down. I am also now facing directly towards the sun. So here's another dynamic range test. And now the audio. The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie ever made. And I will never forgive Disney and Rian Johnson for ruining Luke Skywalker. Inflation's getting pretty crazy, guys. My lunch just cost me over $25, whereas before it would have cost maybe at most $20. I know it's a $5 difference, but that shit adds up quickly, guys. So this isn't a political channel by any means, but it's pretty nuts. So also, while we're here now, I might as well do an audio test. As you can see, we are in the middle of the Panera. I'm gonna get to work, but first, an audio test. The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie ever made, and I will never forgive Disney or Rian Johnson for ruining Luke Skywalker. All right, let's get to editing. All right, guys, we are all done with photo editing. Got a lot of real estate listings and a couple of bar mitzvah images that I took over the last couple of weeks. We are all done, and here's a top tip if you guys take anything from this video. Find yourself a local Panera Bread and go take advantage of their really fast Wi-Fi. If you are like me, you get very easily distracted with stuff at the house, and you find that it takes forever to get your work done. So if you're like me and you get easily distracted, go find a Panera Bread and do your work there. And above all else, if you have really crappy Wi-Fi and internet speeds at home, your local Panera most likely has faster internet than you do, and you can upload your work faster. So this is basically the best dynamic range test you're going to find on this camera. How does it look to you? Outside, it is exposed for the sky in the background and this side of my face. This side, it's probably a little dark, a little noisy. I don't know how it looks on this camera. I mean, I'm looking at the front screen right now and it looks okay, but I've many times before taken footage and it doesn't look noisy on the screen, but it looks incredibly noisy when I look in the computer. How does it look to you? So this concludes the vlogging section of this review, but what if you want to buy this camera to take videos of your family vacation? Well, to find out, let's rewind the clocks back to early August of this year when I took this camera up to Lake George to spend a week up north with my friends.
Oh, we're screwed.
Oh boy. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. Ah! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, oh my god. Oh. Ah! Alright, here's an unplanned dynamic range test. Sun's all the way up there. So how's this look? By the way, the wind noise reduction filter, it's off. So what you hear right now is exactly what the microphones pick up. Here's an unplanned water test. Alright, here's a stark contrast setting. Let me point directly at the sun. I mean, so far on the screen here, everything looks pretty good. So this slide kicked our asses. I mean, maybe it's just me and who's old and hasn't been on rides that long, but that funnel slide just, that annihilates you. Oh yeah, lazy river for life. Things. Oh boy, here we go. Holy mackerel! Oh yeah! Got a nice view though.
Yeah, I mean, it's
before we drop to our death.
Beautiful. It's gorgeous. I love it. Like George is great.
This is great. Oh boy, here we go. Oh.
Yes.
I love this guy. Oh, this guy rules! Yes!
I'm so dizzy.
I love this guy. Okay guys, we are back at the house. We are getting ready to cook our family dinner. So the wind noise reduction is on the camera right now. Let me just sit in the chair here because I just got my ass kicked from an amusement park today. That shower was very much worth it. So, thoughts. I mean, first off, this is paradise up here. If you guys have never been to the greater Lake George, New York area, yeah, you guys need to come here. So, like I said, the wind noise reduction feature is on right now, so you are hearing what this sounds like. Outdoors, it's relatively very quiet here, but you are hearing what this sounds like, what the audio quality sounds like with wind noise reduction feature on. I mean, just leaving the exposure set to auto with minus 0.3 EV, that seems to be doing a trick. ISO 100 to 3200, that seems to be doing the best. And for white balance, I set my daylight setting to 5600 Kelvin, and I'm setting the color profile to D-Log, and I'm editing in post. I'm the type that edits all my footage, but if you don't want to edit footage, set the sharpness to 0, the noise reduction to 0, and just set it to normal color profile. You'll be fine. But just thoughts. I had a chance to look at the amusement park footage on my computer. I didn't edit anything, but just seeing the raw video, it looks phenomenal on this camera. So I'm a really big fan of what DJI did with this camera. And I don't know if I said it before, but I handheld the camera all day today. I didn't have it on a gimbal. I didn't have it on a selfie stick. I literally took it out of my pocket, filmed what I saw. I mean, you saw it on the roller coaster video. You could see my finger just like out of the corner of the frame, because I was holding onto the camera for dear life. And I gotta say, the stabilization on this thing is so good. I mean, you saw the roller coaster footage yourselves, just of how crazy roller coasters are as far as shaking goes. The part that really impressed me the most was on the wooden roller coaster. That is a roller coaster that was built in the 1920s, and it was shaky as hell. I was getting thrown all around, and this thing just held its own, and I'm really happy with it. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the town of Lake George, my favorite place in the world. We are starting at the very bottom of the lake, and I'm going to take you guys on a little tour to the very top of the lake. It's about 33 miles in that direction, and I mean, the boats are coming out of the water, so what better time than now to take some pictures? And to do so, I'm going to use my drone. So this test with the DJI Action 4, I have my daylight settings activated on the camera, and I also have the wind noise reduction setting on. So this right here that I'm going to be taking pictures of is, the company is called the Lake George Steamboat Company, and this boat right here is one of the 3 ships that they have in their dock: the Lac du Saint Sacrament, the Mohican, which is all the way out there right now, and the Minnehaha, which is also, I believe, all the way out there. So let's just take a picture or two of this. And by the way, how I do my bracketed pictures with drones, if you don't have a drone that can switch their lens vertical, you just take 3 pictures, 1 low, 1 middle, 1 high, and then you just combine the images in Lightroom to get your vertical image. So right now we are going to go on a little bit of a drive, and I'm going to show you guys around the area. I do look a little bit like an idiot right now with this, but hey, a small price to pay for salvation, as the great Thanos would say. I love this place. I really do. I used to come here all the time as a kid. Every single year for a week, my parents and I would travel all the way up the lake to our favorite campground, and we would just camp out there for the week. Every day we would want to come to the village, and it would be a really annoying, like, 45-minute drive. but it'd be worth it. We have almost nothing but mom and pop stores on both sides of the street. I mean, there is a Ben and Jerry's right there, but there really isn't that much corporate influence in this town. This poor guy wants to go. I'll let him go. I'll let this monstrosity go too. This place is really cool. House of Frankenstein. It's a pretty decent walkthrough too. Surprisingly takes a while to get through there. But it's got horror figures and haunted house walkthrough. We have a couple of arcades here. Plenty of choices for restaurants that you can go to. And, oh, we have a street vendor event going on today. So that's cool. Guarantee a lot of these people here that are running these vendors right here are locals. So this place right here, the Lake George Olive Oil Company, not only can you obviously get some oil, vinegars, and spices, but they make the best cannolis I think I've ever had. So I have a notorious sweet tooth, and cannolis are my thing. Still see a little bit of the lake right out there. But I think we want to get to the twisty bits because we're in a convertible. I got a stick shift, and we have the best road in the world right here. So I'm very excited to show you guys this road. So let's go. That is Lake George Village. Now comes the best part about this whole place. If you are a driving enthusiast, or if you just want to see beautiful countryside roads, and that is Route 9N on the west side of the lake. Because if you like good drives with good views, this is the road for you. Alright, we are exiting the official town of Lake George, and we're just going to enjoy this cruise right here until we get to Bolton Landing. So what I'm wondering right now, guys, how's the audio sounding? I mean, this is a camera review, essentially, but because I am an audio channel, I'm curious to know how the audio quality is on this. It's certainly better than the Action 3, I'd like to think. I know the picture quality is a hell of a lot better on this than the Action 3. And what I really love about reviewers and tech reviewers is when they review the new version of a product, they always try to do some comparison between that product and the previous generation, and they always act surprised when the new product is better. Like, of course it's going to be better. So really, the biggest difference between the Action 4 and the Action 3 is going to be in low light situations. That's really it, guys. The only difference between the Action 4 and the Action 3, besides the price, is the low light capability. That really is the main bread and butter difference, because even though the Action 3 has Scenic, well, let's take a breather to just take a look at this setting right here. My goodness. Chicks Marina, I learned how to ride a jet ski right here for the very first time. Rode a jet ski right there. What was I saying? Look at this house. My God. Okay, ADD is going haywire because I'm getting distracted by all the pretty houses. Okay. The Action 3 has Scenic, which is what this drone has. The Action 4 has full D-Log. And in various scenarios, I really don't see a difference in perfect lighting situations. So if you are a mountain biker, if you're a motorcycle rider, if you're using this for biking or hiking up the mountains, and you are using the full light of day, you're not going to have a problem. with the Action 3. However, if you are doing some low light situations, or you just simply want the latest and greatest, get the Action 4. And as I say that, we are now in the wonderful town of Bolton Landing. I mean, we're about to cross a bridge onto the Sagamore's own island, so that just gives you an idea of how luxurious this hotel is. I'm not going to go inside because, again, if I park, I have to pay to park if I'm not a guest here, and I don't have the credit rating to be able to afford to stay here. But look at this. So what we're going to do is not park right here, but we're going to go in here and park. I believe the prices start at like $400 to $500 a night here. That's the cheapest I've seen them. And by the way, I saw these prices during winter season. So that just gives you an idea of how expensive this hotel really is to stay in. So here is the Sagamore in all of its glory. And I mean, you could just see how beautiful of a hotel this is. Let's take a big bracketed picture. Really are in the middle of nowhere right here. The lake is right beyond that mountain, and there's just nothing here. It's perfect. Now come the wonderful twisty bits. I'm not going to push the car too hard because the road, as you can see, is still wet, and these cars are notorious for spinning out of control at the slightest hint of moisture on the road. So I'm going to take it easy with this. Well, now that I have this place to myself, I can actually do some photography. I got the new Sony 50mm 2.5G on the A7 III, and I mean, if you want to talk about auto magazines, what better way to take an auto-themed picture than this? No one coming. I really don't like being that guy that's taking pictures of his car, but I mean, when you're all the way up in the mountains here and you don't want to invade anyone's privacy with pictures, what other subject do I have? Expose for the sky, guys, when you're taking pictures. Expose for the sky and do the rest in post. Take bracketed pictures. This is what I do for real estate, and it does the job just fine. We're about 6 miles away from the top of the lake. And hopefully, not only are you seeing good visuals with this camera, but you're also hearing good audio. Because I listened to some footage last night, and the audio seems to be pretty good. So hopefully you guys are having a good listening experience as you're watching this. Oh, yes. Oh my God, that house is nice. I can only imagine just living on a house right up that hill and having, well, you can't see it, but the lake as your front yard. My goodness. What a beautiful, beautiful place. Love that house. And I mean, just look at this. What a view. What a view. And the smell here too. I wish cameras had smell-o-vision, because what you smell right now, if you were here with me, you would smell the fresh breeze coming from the lake. You'd smell campfires that people are having, and you would just smell nature. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm being all hippie-ish right here, but I really cannot emphasize just how wonderful it is up here. And the perfect soundtrack really is the exhaust note from this engine. Look at that. Look at that. Imagine. Oh my goodness gracious. Looks like we're about to enter a storm cloud here. So if it starts raining, well, I at least got the footage that I wanted to get. So this right here, Rogers Rock, this is a campground that I used to stay at all the time as a kid, and still do whenever I come up here. We're not staying up here for vacation, but this campground is probably my favorite place of my favorite place. I know I'm saying that a lot, but I love it so much up here. $25 a night. $25 a night for Rogers Rock. Get a tent, bring a couple friends, bring a cooler of beer. Life is good. And you get beach access to the lake, so you get to go swimming in the lake if you want to. And here we go. Take a look at these mountain ranges right over here. You got the farmland, you got the countryside, and coming up around the bend right here, you're gonna have an amazing par 3 golf course that I think it's actually the first par 3 course that my dad took me to when I was first learning how to play golf. My memory could be a little off on that, but I do remember golfing at this course. Look at this. Just, wow. Imagine that's your backyard. Those people are very lucky. Yeah, This is the golf course that I'm talking about. Just look at that scenery. Just imagine teeing off and your ball's going in the distance back there, and these mountains, these beautiful mountains, are your backdrop. What a beautiful road. What beautiful scenery. And I think this is where I'm gonna leave you guys, because I think I want some ice cream. Yeah, ice cream sounds good right now. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope I convinced you to buy a DJI Action 4 with your next camera purchase. It really is a wonderful piece of gear I have. I'm using it everywhere I go, and it is now my new go-to for all of my front of house POV vlogs. So again, I hope you enjoyed the very lengthy review of this camera, and I hope you enjoyed the views that I gave you. Peace.